Sonic Racing CrossWorlds might just be the most important Sonic spin-off in years. Media outlets are calling it validation for not buying a Switch 2. The crossover characters are going viral, and the hype is so loud that the Steam Open Beta reached 14,000 concurrent players in 2 minutes. That doesn't just happen. The Sonic Racing series used to be one of Sega's most reliable pillars, yet for almost a decade, it seemed the series had fallen from grace, and would never come back to the heights of its popularity. But here we are. In 2025, Sonic Racing isn't just back, it's thriving. The series that seemed buried is suddenly mainstream again, stealing headlines, and even daring to challenge Mario on his home turf. How did we get from the disappointment of Team Sonic Racing to this electric comeback? I'm Mr. Fascinating, and that's the story we're about to explore. To understand the comeback, we need to start at the peak. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed was more than just a kart racer. It was Sega flexing its creative muscles, a love letter to its history, and proof that Sonic spin-offs could stand shoulder to shoulder with Nintendo's best. The transformations were genius. Mid-race, your car could become a boat or a plane, seamlessly adapting to each track. Fans felt like Sega finally understood what made Sonic unique: speed, variety, and a world bigger than just Green Hill Zone. And the roster was wild. Alex Kidd, Knights, even Wreck-It Ralph. It was messy, it was chaotic, and it was everything Sega fans dreamed of. For once, Sonic wasn't just copying Mario Kart. He was doing something Nintendo never did with their series, uniting Sega's entire universe into one chaotic, fast, unforgettable ride. That's why Transformed is still remembered so fondly. It was a promise that Sonic Racing could be different, that Sega could carve its own path in a genre dominated by Nintendo. But promises don't always last. 7 years passed before the next entry. By then, the hype for a sequel was sky high. Fans expected something even bigger, maybe new transformations, maybe even more wild crossovers. Instead, what they got was Team Sonic Racing, and the reaction was confusion, then disappointment. On paper, the concept wasn't terrible. Work with your team, share items, draft behind each other. It added strategy, sure, but the soul of Transformed was gone. The transformations, cut. The crossover characters, gone. Even the roster felt like it had shrunk into something safer, smaller, less ambitious, and for fans it was heartbreaking. Imagine waiting 7 years only to get less. That's what Team Sonic Racing felt like. Less variety, less personality, less identity. The game wasn't bad. It's actually a pretty fun game to play through and complete. I've even done a 100% playthrough of it once, but it wasn't truly special. And in the competitive world of kart racing games, not special makes you quickly forgotten. It's telling that even people who enjoyed the mechanics admitted it lacked magic. You could feel the absence of Sega's larger universe, the absence of ambition. Fans didn't just want a Sonic racing game. They wanted something bold, something that could make them believe again, like Transformed did. Instead, Team Sonic Racing became a symbol of decline, proof that maybe Sega didn't know what to do with the series anymore. For a while, it looked like the Sonic Racing franchise would end here, quietly forgotten. But then, a spark lit again. For years after Team Sonic Racing, the series seemed dead. But as Sonic slowly rebuilt momentum with Frontiers and the movie adaptations, whispers of a new racing project began to surface. Fans were skeptical. After all, why trust Sega again after they had stripped away everything that made Transformed great? And then came the bombshell, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. But what did CrossWorlds even mean? Well, this wasn't just another kart racer. This was Sega swinging for the fences again, taking inspiration from Transformed, but building something far more ambitious. Portals mid-race that warped players into entirely new tracks. Vehicles that shifted between car, boat, and plane again, but with deeper customization. A rival system that added personal drama to every race. And most shocking of all, the return of crossovers, not just from Sega's library, but from all of pop culture. Hatsune Miku, Steve from Minecraft, Joker from Persona, SpongeBob. Suddenly, Sonic Racing wasn't just a Sonic spin-off, it was a cultural event. The exact thing fans had begged for since Transformed. And then came the beta. Within minutes of launch, Steam recorded 14,000 concurrent players. Reviewers at Forbes that played special previews of the game called it Sega at its creative best. Kotaku said it was like in the old times, Sega doing what Nintendo don't. The hype wasn't manufactured, it was real, built by the players themselves. For the first time in over a decade, Sonic Racing wasn't limping behind Mario Kart. It was sprinting forward, unafraid, and fans realized maybe the promise of Transformed hadn't been broken after all. Maybe it had just been waiting for the right moment to return. The brilliance of CrossWorlds isn't just the roster or the hype, it's the formula. Like Sega didn't just copy Mario Kart, they built something riskier, stranger, and in many ways smarter. At the heart of it are the portals. Halfway through a lap, the track literally splits into two-dimensional gateways. The leader decides which path everyone takes, and suddenly the race changes to a totally different track. No loading screen, no break in rhythm. The track itself becomes alive, bending and twisting with each lap. Then comes the customization. The gadget panel lets players tailor their kart like never before. Want to start each race as a monster truck, stomping rivals in the dust? Go ahead. Prefer to fine-tune your drift boosts or stack bonuses for aggressive collisions? That's possible too. Luck still matters, but skill and preparation matter more. And unlike Mario Kart World's overwhelming 24-player races, CrossWorlds keeps things at the traditional 12. It sounds smaller, but it's honestly great. With fewer racers, setbacks don't feel like punishment. The chaos is thrilling but not suffocating. One mistake doesn't send you tumbling into irrelevance. You always feel like you can fight back. Even the rival system is personal genius. Instead of racing faceless AI, you're assigned a rival. They taunt you, chase you, and force you into micro-stories within each Grand Prix. It's the kind of detail that transforms a simple race into a drama. Fans don't just remember winning a cup, they remember the time Miku crushed them on the final lap. Or when Shadow threw shade mid-race before you overtook him. This isn't just design, it's psychology. Sega finally understood that Sonic Racing doesn't need to copy Nintendo's polish. It needs to lean into what Sonic has always represented: unpredictability, speed, and drama. Here's the irony. For decades, Sonic was branded as Mario's rival, only to lose that battle again and again. Sonic couldn't ever outshine Mario. But here, in kart racing of all places, Sonic may finally have the upper hand. That's not a fan fantasy. That's headlines. Kotaku literally wrote, "Sega does what Nintendo don't." Radio Times called it sweet validation for everyone who didn't buy a Switch 2. Several media outlets that played previews of the game are comparing it favorably or at least in equal ground to Mario Kart World. Think about that. Nintendo launched a brand new console, complete with a flashy new Mario Kart. And yet the kart game many people are buzzing about, the one making them second guess whether to buy Nintendo's hardware, is a Sonic spin-off. That's a cultural irony so sharp it almost feels unreal. While fan service like the return of Jet the Hawk and Sage gets Sonic fans riled up, the crossover roster adds an extra fuel that is the secret sauce to making this game go mainstream. Mario Kart has always been limited by Nintendo's own walls. Sure, you can get Link or Isabelle, but never SpongeBob, never Miku, never Steve from Minecraft. CrossWorlds breaks that wall down. It doesn't just pull from Sega history, it pulls from internet culture itself. And that's the magic. Sonic was born as a rebel, a character who existed to break rules, go faster, be cooler. CrossWorlds channels that same spirit. While Nintendo plays safe, Sonic finally feels dangerous again, and fans are eating it up. CrossWorlds isn't running on hype anymore. It's running on momentum. Every preview, every article, every beta impression seems to echo the same thing. This could be Sega at its best. The Forbes preview praised its creativity. Kotaku praised its balance. Fans praised its item design and fixes between betas. And Sega isn't letting the fire die. The Crosstalk YouTube series is drip-feeding lore, memes, and fan engagement. A beautiful new animated short has just been released, following the tradition of Sonic Mania Adventures and Frontiers Prologue. The roster reveals are timed like events, each one sparking another round of discourse online. The hype is genuine, and that makes CrossWorlds feel like a movement being built. So what does this all mean? On the surface, it means Sonic Racing is back. A spin-off once written off as a shadow of Mario Kart has roared back with the energy of a franchise that refuses to die. But zoom out and it's bigger than that. CrossWorlds is proof that Sonic works best when Sega leans into chaos, creativity, and community. When Sonic isn't trying to be Mario's shadow, but trying to be Sonic. Ironically, the series that once felt directionless may now be leading the charge into a new era of kart racing. For once, Sonic isn't chasing Nintendo. He's doing its own thing, with a game no one expected to be this good, this hyped, this culturally relevant, and Nintendo might just end up being the one looking over its shoulder. So yeah, enjoy CrossWorlds, go download and play the free open beta if it's still available when I release this video. And if you want to learn more about Jet, Sonic's rival from Riders that came back for CrossWorlds, click this video before it disappears from your screen.